So the Rockets knew they absolutely had to win last night against the Warriors, and they played like it. And the Warriors knew they absolutely could not afford, they could afford to be lazy, and they played like it too. In truth, they were both right. I mean, let's be honest. If the Warriors have an Achilles heel, it is taking their foot off the gas in situations like this. And for all the whispers that they wanted to use Game 2 to put their collective foot on Houston's throat for even daring to try to challenge them, yeah, when you open the game with 7 turnovers in the first quarter, Sparky, guess what? No one's going to be scared of your mightiness. This is just brutal. And boy, was Houston ready to take advantage. After spending 2 days listening to everyone pick apart their style of play, the Rockets came out doubling down on the ISO. Yeah, they actually ran more ISO plays in Game 2 than they did in Game 1. They just did it so much better. More off-ball activity, pulling the trigger earlier in the shot clock. James Harden described it by saying, if the first game we were at 70, tonight we were at 95. Mike D'Antoni called it playing with more force. To me, what stuck out was how much quicker the Rockets looked on both ends. This is not always a high-paced team. Houston actually ranked in the bottom third of the league in that category since the All-Star break. But last night, they blew the doors off. They had 4 fast break points in the game's opening 2 minutes, and over, they were just so active defensively, it allowed them to rip the Warriors apart in transition. And it helped that Chris Paul brought all his nasty with him. Watch him fight off Clay for the rebound here. Full head of steam down the court, and then that pass to PJ. Just unconscious. And that's before we even get to what he did to Steph Curry. I mean, this is just mean. Behind the back? Come on. It's interesting to note how much the Rockets are going at Steph. And of course, exploiting Steph defensively, that's a strategy teams have been trying for years. But Houston is taking it to another level. So far in this series, Curry has been the primary defender on 43 different Rockets plays. That's the most of any Warriors player by far, almost double what Steph usually sees during the regular season. And you can actually watch Curry out there getting more tired as he's forced to defend a lot and then struggling on offense as a result. He is 2 for 13 on 3-pointers so far in this series, which is just eye-popping, and something the Warriors are going to have to figure out to get some relief for. Because yes, Golden State could afford to be a little lazy last night, taking the split and going home. But that's not going to be true in Game 3, and the Rockets know it just as plainly as the rest of us. Trace, when you look at what this Rockets team did, and I had to get both the offense and the defense in there because they were both so good, which side of the ball impressed you more?
Of course I'm going to go to the defense side of the ball. I mean, offensively, they were the #1 team in the league, and they've been that way for quite some time since D'Antoni's arrival. Defensively was their struggles in the past. This last game, they strapped up, and they're making it tough. I mean, if you look at the numbers on Steph Curry in these first 2 games, and Klay Thompson. I mean, these guys last night were struggling to get open looks. They beat them up. They made it a physical game. They didn't allow, the ball movement to dictate what, was going to happen on the offensive end. They stayed with their guys. Kevin Durant was the only guy that could get his shot off. He's 7 foot. I mean, it doesn't matter who you put on him.
Right.
They allow him to go one-on-one, stay home with their shooters. Their defense was phenomenal last night.
Yeah, much more in tune to the game plan, not leaving shooters, contesting every shot Steph Curry took. But I think more importantly is sometimes your best offense is your defense. Really making Steph Curry work on that end of the floor made him more vulnerable when he took his long-distance threes because he just did not have the legs.
And Trace, you bring up them being more physical with Steph. I mean, you could see it all over the floor. I mean, they're physical with everyone last
Yeah, no, the physicality definitely turned up, and that's what you want to see. That is playoff basketball. Watch the Celtics play. They play physical from start to finish. That's what Houston did last night.
And we talked about this in LA a couple weeks ago. I said, what was my concern about Golden State? And it was their turnovers.
Yeah.
As you see, the first, few minutes, they had 7 turnovers in the first quarter.
Like 11 in the first half.
11 in the first half. That to me seems like a team that they was extremely comfortable with winning Game 1. And it's like, okay, let's see if we get Game 2. But they was really careless with the ball, and I think that's what caused them to really be in the back.
Yeah, no, because playoff basketball, you have to value every possession. And like Tracy said, we were playing with house money.
Right.
We got 1 win, so now we can go out here and just play. And you can't do that. Not against a good Houston team that thrives off turnovers, and that allowed them to get out in transition, and they played well last night.
I'm interested to see if this ends up hurting them or not, because clearly, and again, we have seen this from the Warriors this year. This was a little bit of like, yeah, we got the next two at home. We'll just rock those. We'll come back here, and it'll be 3-1, that sort of thing. Although, Golden State 3-1, I'm just going to say. But I could burn them. You let Houston back into the series, maybe you split at home too.
Well, the psychological factor. I mean, if they go up 2-0, Houston's pretty much dead. They're second-guessing themselves.
Yep.
But they allowed them to get confidence last night. They seen the ball go in the basket. And now they go into Golden State knowing they just need one game. They get one game, and now the series is good.
They haven't lost in Golden State in 15 tries.
Right. That's the thing.
That's a tall
task.
task.
That the Warriors are right, that they could afford to be a little late last night. I mean, we will have to see.